Well, welcome back. We're going to continue talking about digital imaging. In this photo, you'll see two early pioneers here. The Kodak DC-40 on the right, and on the left is the Apple QuickTake 100. These were two of the first, they weren't necessarily the first, but they were two of the first digital cameras that were marketed, and starting in the early 90s, around 1994. These are digital still cameras, okay? They first appeared in 1990. And so by 1994, we were marketing these. Apple, Sony, Kodak, some of the other companies were creating their own digital photography cameras, okay? Now, here's how DSC worked. Digital, as I said, that was a digital still camera. Digital still camera works on a traditional camera. Okay, what you have is, instead of film, which you had for years, we use a light hits a sensor that creates an electrical charge, okay? Now, what the camera did, and has to still do, it would interpolate, preview, capture, compress, filter, store, transfer, and display an image very quickly. However, in 1994, when you were using one of those cameras, there was a lag because interpolating, previewing, capturing, compressing, etc. took some time, okay? And it would be a lag, so you couldn't take a bunch of pictures right after each other, and that's what some of the photographers didn't like. And so a lot of photographers stuck with analog and with film because they wanted to take pictures, boom, 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 boom. Especially like if you're a sports photographer, professional photographer, you would want to have quick, and you couldn't do that. You couldn't make pictures that fast. There was a shutter lag, okay? And so the light hits the film immediately, and then digitally, the latent computer processing delays the exposure. And that was the problem until, again, as I've mentioned before, in computer world, it's all about speed, okay? Now, what is new about the DSC now? It's not new anymore because they've taken care of it. It works very well. But one of the interesting things is the software. You see it on your phones anymore. You'll buy a Google phone or buy an Apple phone. They will allow you to edit your photographs right there on the device, which used to not be the case. You used to have to go to some kind of a software like the ones they have there, PhotoSynth, Photo Clip Art, and Scene Completion, or Spellbinder. These are all good apps, but you don't really need them anymore. Well, you can still do things with these you can't do on your phone, but the technology is to the point now to where the manufacturers are putting some of the editing apps on your phone. And so the bottom line here is that the cell phone cameras are where the growth and the action is happening. There's no question about it. Okay. This just shows you a couple of examples of what you can do. You can do this now without any special software, but this is just this was one from scene completion software, where you had the scene and you had something in it you didn't like, so you could pull it out and you could just make it look like it was, like it is on the right-hand side. But that goes way back. You can see that picture was actually taken in 2007. So it goes way back. Okay. Now, so what are the trends in the software, though? Okay, well, the trends of manipulating image with priority software, which is often built into your camera, or use something like Photoshop, which keeps coming up with new ways for you to easily manipulate your images. Okay? And so then, of course, mobile apps are, they also often allow you to touch things up. Instagram, Snapspeed, Scalado, there's others that will let you manipulate or distort your images right there on your phone. That's a trend in the software. The software is just being built right into your phone. Okay? And so you're working with what they call native formats, which is the original picture. And then you can do things with that original picture. Okay, let's look at the growth of these things. The point shoot DSCs are the biggest sellers. Those are the ones on the cameras. The DSL, that's a digital still lens cameras. They have also increased. This is an interesting thing that's happened. The DSLR is what professional photographers would use because you keep changing lenses and stuff. But a lot of people using their iPhone or using their mobile device have gotten interested in photography. And so they've gone out and bought the cameras. The people buying the cameras often are people who weren't camera bugs at all, but now they are because they've gotten interested in that. So 85% of the homes supposedly in the United States have some kind of DSC, in the house. And usually that's going to be the cell phone or the mobile phone they have. Now, here's an interesting interesting statement, I should say. Number of prints decline. Number of images saved increases. Now, what that means is, as I said a while ago, I said 1.2 trillion or whatever images are taken every year. Well, okay. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But here's what is true. The number of pictures taken increases, but the number of prints decline. In other words, people are perfectly happy to take these pictures and put them on Instagram or on Facebook or wherever, or keep them on their phone. They don't have to get them printed out. You can if you want, but most people don't. They don't print out that many images. Some people do. My wife still does. She was always printing out images. But you don't have to. You can just keep them on your phone. And that's what most people do. Okay, so that's already an important consideration, that we have more images but less printing. Owning a camera phone continues to rise. So even people who didn't ever want a camera, who didn't even want a phone, now buy a phone with a camera on it. Okay, and then smartphones are taking over the market easily. Okay, a couple of things here about Gen Yers. 10% more likely to order products from a kiosk, film products that you might use with your camera. They take 1.5 times more photos than any other group. And a lot of those photos are taken and uploaded to their friends or to Snapchat or to Instagram or wherever. 56% of the images are shared on the social network. And the other generations usually do about a third. And 83% own cameras, and 43% said they own more than one camera. And in the other generations, it's usually around 58%. So I pick on Gen Yers because they are standing out in how they're using the cameras, these smartphones. So around 43% of people who are aged from 18 to 25 will regularly turn digital photos into physical ones. So there is some printing going on, but it's not near as much as it used to be. Okay? And it's not the number of images that's printed, it's the number of people who do it, which is what I'm giving you here. 43% of the people will print them. Not 43% of the images are printed. Don't make that mistake. 43% of the people from this age 18 to 27 will turn digital photos into physical ones. Okay? And here's your pictures. Okay? Now notice that the most common shots are on the phones are pictures of families, holidays, viewpoints, etc. Here's a woman. She's has some fond memories of trips thanks to the physical images. So she has all these pictures. So we used to always use the photographs for things like what I'm showing you here. In this case, the images of, trips. There's another one, vacation and family, etc. Okay. And this is just an old graph showing you that the number of images being taken was increasing. Now, so what's going to happen is this. The resolution gets better and better. Every time the phone company comes out with a new phone, they brag about how good their camera is. And then be add-ons to the cameras, because now you can even put lenses on the camera, on the smartphones that you couldn't do originally. Okay, now the other thing that's important here is the screen will change from the past to the present. Those pictures those last couple of slides I showed you of people looking at their pictures. She's sitting on her bed looking at the pictures, and she's got a scrapbook. Okay, photographs are not about memories so much anymore. Think about it. You can take a picture. People, when they first started getting their cell phones, their smartphones, people would take pictures of their lunch, and they'd send it to their friends. Say, "Here's what I'm having for lunch." And even now, if you're out someplace, one of my favorite things to notice is somebody's out shopping, somebody's at Target, It's a husband at Target, and he's there to get something for his wife. And he's not sure which brand to get. He takes a picture of it, sends her the picture, and says, which one do I get? So you see, it's about the present. It's not about the past anymore. We use photography. We still use it for the past. I'm not saying we don't use it for the past. We still take pictures on vacation, but we also take pictures for the present, and we use those instead of using text. Okay? So there's more focus on the use of image and interactions, and not about the image itself. The image itself is not that important. It's what we're doing with the image. We're showing you our lunch. We're showing you what brand you want me to buy, or I'm in the, store. I don't know. I show you we're at a ball game and I want to show you what it looks like. Okay. Now, also with more people with cameras, keep in mind, more images mean more things will be revealed. So you've got to be aware that you can get your picture taken at any time, whether you like it or not. People can take your picture and they can put it up online, and anymore they can do things with it with AI. And so the sky's the limit here on what's going to be revealed. So the privacy becomes more of a thing of the past, something that just isn't going to be part of the equation anymore. I finished with this picture of Susan Sontag, who came up with the idea that the reason we like to take so many pictures in American culture is that we're really all voyeurs. We have this chronic voyeuristic relation. And so that's one of the reasons we like to take pictures so much. She was a philosopher of photography. Unfortunately, she passed away a couple of years ago. Okay, I'm going to stop there. That takes us to the end of our discussions of digital photography and imaging.